We all know Heath Ledger as one of the greatest actors of our generation, but not everyone realizes he was also primed to become one of the best directors. Before his tragic passing, Heath was laying the groundwork to make his mark behind the camera.
That's the only way I think of him, with the camera in the hand. That was just Heath.
He really, truly was an artist. We knew his visual talent from the photography, but I didn't know that it was going to get so serious.
He was getting into videos, and he was getting into directing and getting behind the camera, and that was exciting him a lot.
Ledger's legacy is often tied to his unforgettable performances, whether it was his heart-wrenching portrayal in Brokeback Mountain or his transformative role as the Joker in The Dark Knight. These roles not only earned him acclaim, but cemented his status as one of the most versatile actors ever. But what made Heath different was that his ambitions didn't end with acting. He was already exploring the craft of filmmaking and showing signs of a director who could have been one of the greatest today.
He called me and he's like, man, I got this idea and we're gonna make this video. And I was more than happy to be one of his test subjects towards becoming a director. Let's just do it. Let's just grab a camera and shoot.
Okay, let's do your eye. All right. Look down the lens. Look down the lens while you're doing it. Wipe it off. Intent. Hook in there. Pull it back. Pull it off. Look down the lens while you're doing it. And on the beat, spin it fast.
The louder he got, the more into it I got.
Pick up your fist.
If he wants to bark at me what to do, I'm gonna take it because the best guy in the planet is telling me how to be better.
All right, cool.
So what made Heath's journey unique? The path from actor to director isn't uncommon, but it's rarely seamless. Visual-driven directors like Kubrick, Fincher, and even Michael Bay approach movies with the precision of a photographer. Their films are often filled with stunning compositions and unforgettable visuals. Though the emphasis on style can sometimes overshadow the performances, the focus is more on crafting a visual experience than on exploring the depths of character relationships.
Well, he and the camera were akin, and he sure knew how to light a scene. That was very, very important to him. That would take care of almost all of the necessities.
On the other hand, actor-directors often bring a focus on performance and collaboration.
If you think about, in the history of cinema, how many great filmmakers are actors? It's a lot. Woody Allen, Orson Welles, Spike Lee, Warren Beatty, Robert Redford, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. Understanding acting and directing are the same. They're an interpretive art. They're about taking great writing and sharing it.
Heath Ledger, however, was on his way to combining the best of both worlds.
He had something to say. There are many actors that want to direct that almost are the actor directing. But he had the ability to communicate his ideas, that he could translate that into a filmic story.
Heath's approach would have built on this foundation. His production company, The Masses, was all about collaboration and shared creativity.
I work with bands, I direct music videos, and I run a small independent label, The Masses, and it's with a whole bunch of my friends who are all just young creators.
The Masses is a cool name because it's not meant to be exclusive. Everyone has the capacity to tell their story.
They had the whole floor of a building. You knew as soon as you walked up those stairs, you were going into like the hubbub of creativity.
Heath was very much a part of those sessions with Grace and Carlos. He financed it himself.
What we ended up doing was kind of developing her songs and kind of just improvising.
Heath styled it, he found the locations, he storyboarded it, and I would just say, yeah, that sounds amazing. I just trusted him. I just knew he had this vision.
He had the same openness actor-directors bring, but he didn't stop there.
Heath came in one day to come and listen to how it was going. We were working on a song. We wanted a male vocal in there, and he was there, and I was like, why don't you do whatever comes to mind, like just have a couple of takes and see what comes out. And Heath got all nervous, but he almost became a character in that moment. And he just took on this persona and he had this like incredible deep tone.
There she is, going through the door. Teardrops falling from her fingernails. She's hiding, gone forever.
Afterwards he was like, is that okay? Is that all right? Like, I was like, of course it is. You can do no wrong.
Beyond collaboration, Heath was also fascinated by the visual aspect of filmmaking, an area where many actor-directors are less focused.
The cameras were a part of him. He knew the lighting that was available, he knew the speed of the film that was in his camera and what he could set it at without using a light meter.
Heath was a one-man force of nature. He would do lights, the colors, the texture, and he really knew exactly what he wanted to do. But what amazed me is how in command he was of everything.
He had a natural eye for composition, as seen in his directorial work on Morning Yearning.
When I saw the Morning Yearning video for the first time, I thought to myself, this guy is going to have a lifetime behind the camera as well as in front of it. He proceeded to make the best music video I've ever had in my 23 years of making music.
He wasn't just content with being in front of the camera, he was deeply invested in what happened behind it.
When he wasn't working, he would come to set and observe and watch Chris because he was so enamored with, Chris as a director and wanted to learn as much as he could about what he was building and what he was doing.
On the set of Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan gave Heath the rare opportunity to direct some of the Joker scenes himself. Think about that. Nolan, one of the most meticulous directors working today, trusted Heath not just to perform, but to control how the scene was captured.
It was the most fun I've had with a character, hands down. Creatively, it was just, it was too good to be true.
Heath's instinctive understanding of the camera meant he wasn't just an actor who dabbled in directing. He was a visual storyteller in the making.
I was just amazed at his prowess with the camera. Like, he was calling out numbers and, apertures and the angles. He had command of his vision.
Yet Heath's approach to directing wasn't solely about balancing technical skills with performance. It was about bringing his life into his art.
The art was more of a need almost to live in the world and then capture the world. He would draw on it or scratch on it or use crayon or nail polish. He wanted to take it all with him.
Unlike many directors whose experiences are drawn from film school or the pages of books, Heath lived life authentically. He saw the world not just as an observer, but as an active participant.
Heath had a little slogan, and that was keep it real. To do something surprising, mess up the frame a little bit, to not be so symmetrical, to try something.
Directors like Werner Herzog advocate for experiencing life firsthand, rather than seeing it through a lens.
Don't spend your time in film schools. If you travel on foot for 4 months, it's better than 4 years in film school. And you really have somehow understood what the world is all about.
Heath's diverse life experiences would have given his films a sense of authenticity and immediacy, much like Herzog's approach. It's this quality that sets him apart from directors who have lived more vicariously through the stories they tell.
Acting is learning about the life around you and the person you are. You can learn all the techniques in the world, but if you know nothing about life and yourself, then you're at a loss.
Whether it was his love for adventure, his passion for photography, or his near obsession with chess, Heath approached everything with the same drive.
How do you do this? How do you stay so active? How do you stay so interested? How do you burn so bright all the time? It's just how he always was.
And it was this mentality that he brought to his creative work.
His love of chess was, legendary.
I always felt that he was 5 moves in front of me. By the time he was 10 or 11 or so, it was pretty hard to actually beat him. Heath was trying to achieve a Grand Master status and was only a few points away from achieving his goal.
Heath's first planned feature film was set to be The Queen's Gambit. This wasn't just another project, it was a story he was deeply connected to, about a young chess prodigy battling addiction and finding herself.
He was going to direct his first film, which was The Queen's Gambit, about a chess player.
When he read that story, Queen's Gambit, He thought, wow, this could be the right size film to take a bite and direct it.
So this is about a young chess player who is addicted to drugs, to pills.
He understood that story from inside out. He wanted to use chess as a metaphor for the girl's life.
Heath Ledger wasn't just an actor or a potential director. He was a true artist with a vision that went beyond the boundaries of genre or medium. His unique blend of technical skills, life experiences, and collaborative spirit could have created films that bridge the gap between performance-driven and visually stunning storytelling.
Heath was the most alive human. If it wasn't on the edge, it didn't interest him. If there wasn't a risk, some type of risk involved, he had no time for it. He went all the way out in the time that he had. He went all the way to the edge. Some people are just bigger than the world has room for.
The only time that I'm alive and living and expressing and feeling and relating is when I'm on set, and that time between action and cut.